But check it out. And so let's talk about some of the nasty brothers that are in this bracket. Real quick.
Okay.
So of course you got to talk about last year's EVO 2018 EVO Japan champion, of course, GX Bridget, DJG, who also made his presence well known in some other fighters recently in the past.
Definitely true. A lot of people came new to him from one game, and now they know where it comes from with KOF.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And what was so cool was, I remember being in Taiwan last year for their tournament, who was run by Gamer B, of course. And shout out to him and Juliana, man. They run a hell of an event out there. I hope you guys give it a look if you happen to come out here for it. But they were running KOF alongside Street Fighter V, right? And so it was cool seeing GX Bridget able to go in there, get his game in on KOF. And then in Street Fighter, you could tell he'd been practicing a little bit, but despite not being completely familiar and still being in progress in that game, his fundamentals that he learned from KOF carried over so well, and he took out some heavy favorites, man. He had a really good performance in that game. Obviously did really well at Capcom Cup. It just goes to show you, the proof is in the pudding, man.
I mean, take that applied to another. Fudo coming from one game, going to another game. All these players are set up to be better no matter what they do. They have, I mean, look at it, like the fundamentals. Like there's a lot of good players. You're naming them, you know them. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of good players that kind of have their fundamentals stem from more fundamentally powerful games. Yeah. A game like KOF, those fundamentals last you a lifetime. They definitely do, and that's why you say, man, it's a legacy game for a reason. That's the reason. But
there's also GX Bridget, of course, who won EVO Japan last year. You also always got to put some respect on Xiao Hai's name. Always got to put some respect on ET's name. Your two-time EVO champion, right? And here's the thing. Oh, man, 7 o'clock. Guys, make sure you come back for semifinals later this evening. The first match is going to be a doozy. And I'll tell you why when it happens later.
Okay.
But ET is still in the mix, winner's side as well. Who else? We got a lot of tough comp out here from Taiwan, China, Hong Kong, but also Japan as well.
Okay.
So you know what to expect.
I'm really interested to see what we're going to get character-wise, man. I know I've been seeing a lot of
yeah, well, I mean, we're still fresh on this version of the game, right? It's only been, what, less than 2 months? It's been less than 2 months.
That's definitely true.
And this is still the first, I would say this is the first big stage event for that patch of the game.
Well, I know I was at Frosty Faustings.
My man Hydron got hit with a full page of nerfs.
Oh, jeez. Really?
They had the change list. Hydron had a whole page to himself. I was like, oh, Lord.
See, I was not aware. I was not aware of the changes. That's kind of crazy. I didn't know they hit him that hard with the bat. That's kind of crazy. I mean, but it's only right, man. The characters like that, I feel like a lot of characters that they implemented now, we know the neutral tools they're going to have, and I feel like they're already going to be like, you have to change them or they're going to be too strong.
Yeah, for sure. So we saw players like Score actually do really well at KSB 2018 last year. Pretty much, it's funny because like the whole top 8, everybody had Hydron on the team. But again, seeing how he does or how some of these other characters have done in this most recent patch, we haven't really had too many big stages to be able to see how it goes. So I'm looking forward to see, like you said, the character roster. Because you can definitely tell this is KOF just because of the way the game is. You want to go with the less stressful characters usually, right? On top 8 performances. That's why you normally see the way the game gravitates in a lot of cases is maybe a third or 2/3 of the team is maybe a lot of people play that same character. Yeah, right?
You get about 2 or 3. You get about 2 or 3 familiars
usually in
there. You know what I'm saying? That you're always going to see.
So I'm curious to see who gets picked up this time and what kind of teams are we going to see today. That's a good point for sure.
Well, I've already seen my fair share of Benimaru, Kukri.
Okay.
Who else have I seen?
Benimaru always a staple for
you. Yeah. Well, look, man. Yeah, he always going to be there. I've actually seen quite a few verses today, which I was really happy about. I've seen a billion Ioris. I don't really have a problem with that. I'm an Iori fan. But, I mean, I can tell there's a small deviation. There's a few deviations from, like, with the teams that we've typically seen in the past. Like you said, this is a very new patch still. And, like I said, just the adaptation that I've seen from the community so far, even to be playing at the level that they are now, especially with the changes, it's kind of unprecedented to me. I didn't know it would take that quickly to the core to where we're going to have these exciting tournaments every time the game comes back.
Most definitely. And you have to imagine maybe some of those players even – planned on that, right? Maybe they came into this kind of event. They know that maybe recently some other players have maybe been a little bit distracted with some other titles, right? So they come heavy with the news, with the fresh stuff. But that also brings up another point, right? So you have players, of course, like Japanese favorites like Score, Abao, who? I'm not sure if Coco is in the bracket. I'm not sure, but
I really need to check this out myself.
There's a lot of old heads in the bracket for sure. A good spread between them. Top 32, top 16 for this game. You already know what to expect. It's going to be lights, camera, action, nothing but fireworks. But the big thing, I think, and the biggest story, and I know that Pockets and Ringe probably touched on this a little bit earlier. is there's one player in the bracket that I want you guys to pay attention to. His name is, well, first of all, before I get to him.
Okay.
My big thing is this. Last year, EVO Japan 2018, you had a lot of players from North America, a lot of savages from South America,
true.
from
That's
Mexico,
true.
from North America, from Europe.
Brackets.
Man, a lot of beasts came out here. None of them made top 8. My question this year is, so right now we got KCO Pedro, and you got Violent Kane in the mix. Is there any way one of these brothers can make it, can swim in this pool of sharks, and one of them make it to that stage tomorrow? That's my thing. Because, look, last year what happened is, and also I think White Ash is out here too, I think. I would love to see one of them make it.
So many good players. Man.
The big thing last year was they all kind of ran into each other towards top 16, especially in loser's side. They ended up cannibalizing each other towards the end of the bracket. My question is this year, can one of those guys make it towards that top 8 stage? Well, and compete with the Chinese, Taiwanese, and Japanese monsters that we got out here.
So I like to apply. You spoke about the international competition.
Yeah.
A lot of people consider KOF the soccer, the football of the world,
I'm
right?
I'm a big fan of that analogy. I like
right,
that.
Ditto. And like when and I can tell you right now, being somebody that relocated like from the Midwest, playing with those guys, and then moving to California and being like, oh man, this is a completely different world out here, and then being in Taiwan, I'm like, what is this? Like, it kind of like it changed how I enjoy KOF.
You get that firsthand experience, that firsthand vision on like just how different it is, right?
And,
how deep the well goes.
And it's not scary. It's a little intimidating, I will say. But like, there's so many elements to KOF that a lot of people might be missing if they didn't come from that backstory legacy, or if they didn't have like a core there to make sure that they grabbed those fundamentals before they left. And then now you get to see it when it all comes together. Playing a game like KOF on the world stage, it's so obvious. You see what's missing from everybody's gameplay. You get a very specific feel for every region that comes.
Especially when I talked about earlier, right? You give this game the spotlight, you give it its top 8 stage. This game has consistently for the past X years now. If you have not come around to it yet, then you have not been paying attention, just straight up. But before we get to any more KOF action, we're going to take a quick esports 10-minute break. Make sure you guys come back in a little bit so we can get some matches on screen.
ドニマルです。最近のいいこと？あ、この前オーディション受けたんですけど、受かって仕事もらえたんですよ。再現 CG の仕事なんですけど。やりきってやりました。
あなたにハッピーを、ハピちゃん。2月はドリンクもらえる。DTV 特典実施中。
やりきってやりました。
No idea where these two terrorists are, and now Mo's position is known.
Oh my God. IEM champion.
Mae進む世界女王はゴールじゃない。次へ行く。日産の技術で自動運転を実現するために立ち止まってる暇なんて一瞬もない。日産は挑み続ける。プロパイロットで自動運転の未来へ。ぶっちぎれ技術の日産。
二宮さん、
今度何？
サロンパスの CM ください。
新しい表現見ますよね。
まあ
張って寝て気持ちいい。
ダメですか？
ずるいよ。
張って寝て気持ちいいサロンパス。
120枚入りも。
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. EVO Japan 2019. We actually have a match for you guys.
I've been waiting all day for this moment, Steve. Let's go, man. Finally, we get some KOF14 action here. Like I said, we're making our way through pools, trying to see who's going to make that top 8 tomorrow, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be pretty scary, though. I mean, I feel like this is one of the few tournaments. We talk about, like, tournaments getting exponentially harder with every time a pool passes, every time you make it to the next bracket. I feel like KOF is one of the only existing games that has that drastic of a jump, of a leap, of a change from making it from one pool to the other.
It's just because, like we said, man, like the legacy potential of this game, there's so many players who've been playing for such a long time, whether it's 98, whether it's 2K2, whether it's 13, whatever KOF game you come from, and that's something that 14 has had a lot of appeal with, right? Where you get all these KOF players who are known for different KOF titles or even SNK titles that compete in the same title like that. There's so, even traditionally for like even the EVOs that this game was at, even EVO Japan's invitational events, you had so many players with such different SNK-based backgrounds that could go at it in a bracket, man. You just never know who you never know who you're going to see at the top.
Yeah, and it gives you a very, like, stark different, like, a gameplay aspect of it. Because, like I said before, I said this a little earlier before we took that first break, is, like, you get to see where the holes are, and not only the gameplay, but, like, the difference in the players. Because I can tell you right now, I've been on continents where I've seen players be extremely dominant and see them in another continent, and they go 0-2. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard because, like I said, that's just part of how drastic the skill gap is when it comes to certain tournaments. Certain regions are a lot stronger, and a lot of times you're going to depend on those legacy style players to be the people that make it out, but it just gets harder, and it's like you're fighting older and older men, and they get ridiculously strong, man. It's like an anime. It's crazy.
It definitely has that feeling, especially, again, like we said, towards the top 16, top 32. Oh, man. I'm trying to say, man, if one of these North Americans or European players or Middle Eastern players can get into that cut at the end, it was heartbreaking last year watching them have to kill each other off trying to get in the top 8 last year.
It was like a slow motion death scene,
and finishing just short like that. That was a hard L for NA, Europe, and South American scenes. I want to see somebody get into the mix this year. But the other thing that we have to talk about too is the change kind of in recently. There's been a player that's come up in Japan that's kind of made a lot of noise, and his name is Lagia. So check this out. He's M-Dash's disciple.
M-Dash's disciple.
M-Dash practices with him on a regular basis, and he's dubbed this kid as a prodigy in fighting games.
How old is he? You say he's a prodigy? How old is this guy?
I want to say I don't want to guess and be wrong, but he's not very old. He's a young player.
Okay.
He's a young player, and traditionally has not competed in KOF until KOF 14. Which, again, very rare, right? We don't really see that with a lot, especially recently.
It's never going that way. It's never saying you come from this game to play KOF and you're really good at it.
And I'm gonna tell you what, a lot of JP players for this game, they're looking at him and they're saying they're expecting big things from him. In this tournament.
Really?
So that's why I say make sure you guys tune in tonight for when we start making our way towards that top 32, top 16. Make sure you guys tune in because tonight, first match is going to be a doozy.
Look, I'm going to tell you right now, if you guys have not watched KOF, first off, you've already made a mistake. However, I'm going to tell you right now, as a person who watches a lot of fighting games, I feel like it has the most matches that you don't want to miss. There's so much that happens because you're playing 3 different characters every time. Don't get me wrong, there is a little consistency in some of the variety. However, there's still different ways to be played. There's different understandings that these players have again, and you can see them every time they play.
Well, even with that team-based dynamic too, right? There is the potential for a lot of variety of gameplay, and also, man, this game does not have like comeback mechanics other than like the super meter, right? But how often do we see like that last character, right? That's your character. That's your anchor character. Yeah. You get some meter behind that character, and all of a sudden you can make something happen. You can make a run, get that OCV, right? It happens all the time. We've seen it a few times already today in pools.
You're 100% right. That's exactly what happens. And even still, sometimes you have players that are ready for that because, like you said, you get those familiar anchors and people already know how to deal with them.
Yeah.
But I know for me personally, it's more about love. There are people who will say, you know what, I'm going to put my character in the middle and I'm going to make you deal. You know what, I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to start with my character,
get them on point.
You know what I'm saying? Put them on point. Like, I love those that personality call out because you get to see it sometimes. It's rare, but it's there. And also, it just lets you know how strong. Like, I feel like that's where the confidence in being a good player in KOF comes in. You get to see time where you see somebody just like, Char hop D, Char hop D, Char hop D, Char hop D, do something, Char hop D, DP. What the? Like you get people like that.
Those bully moments, too? Like, yeah, that happens a lot.
putting people in their place in this game is very telling. I feel like psychologically it messes with you more so, but even still understanding.
My man just threw down the gate
for no reason, man. What is this character he's dressed as, man? I know exactly what character it is. That's Ed, bro. Little dude just knocked.
Damn, he is cosplaying. He is cosplaying. That's a cosplayer.
Oh man, but yeah, like I said before, people coming in to see KOF turn into this game, I feel like that's how you get those players to stay on their base. Because like I said, it's hugely based off of legacy, but there's players that come in learning new things who will carry over the torch, so to speak, to the next iteration.
And that's what makes a player like Laggy so exciting, right? We're used to talking. I mean, we've been talking about the legacy power of this game. You don't often get those new players that come in like that and then make a big splash the way that he did. And in particular, I mean, I guess we'll talk about it now, right? So I guess it was in October or November, a little bit later last year. They had a King of Fighters Fest.
Okay.
2018, where they had an 8-man invitational for KOF 14. The invited players were Abao, Score, M-Dash, Lagia, Xiaohai, E.T., GX Bridget.
Oh, yeah, it was like the old versus new or something like that, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Xiaohai, E.T., GX Bridget, and one more player, I forget. This kid who M-Dash dubs like this dude's a prodigy. Y'all don't know this dude's a monster. He beat Xiaohai for round 1. Loses to E.T. So he beat Xiaohai 2-0 too.
Smoke him.
Loses to E.T. in a close set. Losers bracket. Beats Xiaohai again in double jeopardy. Beats GX Bridget. Gets to grand finals. Goes down 2 games against E.T. Runs him 3 games straight. Reset. Runs him 3 games straight. Wins the tournament.
Ugh.
That's an 8-man invitational. And again, those kinds of events have, I mean, again, juggernaut players, right? None of those players are slouches. And for a young player,
a young buck,
virtually unknown young buck prodigy player like that, coming out of Japan too, for them to be able to win that tournament against very strong Hong Kong-based, Taiwan-based, and Chinese-based competition, that's wild. That's crazy. And that dude he's going to be on display this weekend. I'm telling you, JP audience, they have a lot of high hopes for this game.
I'm definitely interested to see to come out and blow up my boy Xiaohai like that. Come on, man.
Beat him round 1 of the exhibition. Beat him again, double jeopardy.
A lot of people don't know. I mean, like you said, you know Xiaohai from one thing, but we always talk about the fact how strong of a KOF player this man is.
It's always funny to me, man, when you hear people talk like, and that's something I think that our scene has to do a bit. Maybe it's done a bit of a better job of it recently, but when you see players who are like, or, other people were like, wow, this ZJZ guy, he's doing really good in Street Fighter 5. I'm like, come on, man. Like, have you just not been paying attention? This guy's a monster.
The community is definitely kind of not understood. I remember I was legitimately just talking about Kendevu. And,
man.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, man, the Golden Fed. They're like, who, what? Why would you say that? I'm like,
yeah.
bro, y'all do not know that this man is a legend in these streets.
Yeah,
like,
long-time monster. He's also competing this weekend as well.
See, and like I said, they don't know that these players already existed into such a degree that they're like super strong. They're already cemented themselves in being a ridiculous player, and they just like playing, and they're still there.
But look, props to the community and the people who have been voices for that community too, man. Always letting this younger generation of players know, like. You see this guy going ham in this one game, it's because of his background in this game. That's one reason why he's able to do that skill set is so easily transferable and why he's able to have that kind of success. He's used to these big stages. He's used to playing this game in those kinds of environments. It only makes sense that he would be able to perform in that game, right?
That's definitely true. That's definitely true. And he's had success all over the world. I mean, and I know we talk about, EVO Japan, but this is a very young event when it comes to having this stage be on display and still have even the small pieces of like that international competition come here and understand the prestige of this. It's really, I really like the international aspect of us having to see. I feel like them having KOF here now, like, you have to see this game. There is no way you don't know what this game does outside of the borders that you might not be familiar with. That's one of the reasons I love this game.
All right, Steve, by now we bullshitted for at least 30 minutes.
Yeah, this is true.
There's probably nobody watching at home. And look, to be honest with you, man, I don't even play this game. I saw an open microphone. Call. Had to come in. I'm doing this shit for clout. I'm doing it for clout and nothing else. But look, let's hit him with the real question, Steve. Give me your top 5 OST tracks. Give it to me. KOF.
Top 5.
KOF. That's a hard one. I know
95, 98, 13.
Wait, you going title OST?
Oh, title OST.
95 is okay. All right.
And people give me a lot of shit for 13.
You said 95, 98 what?
13.
Why would people give you shit for 13 though?
Because I played with like some goofy dudes, man, and they just gave me a lot of like, what? Why do you like this? I'm like, I
like 13 a lot though.
Okay.
13 OST is pretty good. To
Okay,
me.
all right. Trust me, I have 2 copies of that bad boy. I ain't gonna even stunt.
Bro,
That's just how I am.
See, that's the other thing, man. These old men, KOF old heads, I hate them. I hate each and every one of them.
Oh yeah, actually,
bro,
yeah.
They're too corny, man. They're too corny, bro. Oh, we don't like 13.
13 is gross.
I only drink the finest 98.
We're switching characters. That's whack. Ugh.
Get the hell out of here.
99. You like 99? Yeah, man, I like 99, bro. I still got the disc for that bad boy. A lot of people, they don't get that. You can't tell them that you like the new flavor added in.
That's part of the fun of the series, right?
Yeah.
Similar to maybe like a Street Fighter, right? Where every iteration is almost like a little bit different than the other ones, right? For example, like KOF 11. 13, 98, those 3 games alone are radically different from each other.
Look at the last what, 4 or 5 games of KOF that came out. There's always been some kind of thing. I mean, the way max mode was handled, the way you handle neutral max mode. Like now that they have this new blowback mechanic off of like the CD to get the wall bound, like all these things
14,
added each
13,
time.
11 are so different.
Yeah, like people don't know that. So it's like when you go back in every time, when I went back to play this game, I was like, all right, let me learn how to play this game. And I'm like, wow. These things are different, but these other things are all still there. I'm playing to learn how to do these things. So, personally, I'm a fan of like what happens every time they change it because I want to see how it adapts to the KOF style. It's still KOF at its core. That's what I want.
Give me top 5 songs.
Top 5 songs? Oh man. Okay. Well, I was actually about to say, does Fatal Fury songs count too? I count the whole thing. I count the whole thing.
I do too. Some people probably gonna get mad. You can run it.
Okay, so first off, I'm a huge guy. I'm a Garo guy, and Freeman's track is also one of my favorites. What is it? It's Roberts KOF 13.
That's a good one. 13 got some killer tracks to me.
Dude, look. But I tell you that
I hate KOF vets. I hate them. they clown that game so hard, man. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about?
And what else? Oh man, you put me on the spot here. I'm trying to call it right off the top. So it was a new character, 13. The heavyset dude. No. He was coming back. It was the dude that came back. I'm sorry. I'm blanking right now. That's not where Raiden came back. That's not the first time he's.
Who's a big body from 13?
It was a big body from 13. Look, we're gonna figure this out during the break. We're going to take a quick break. We've still been bullshitting, but we're going to hopefully we have a match when we come back. I'm going to figure out this song.
Steve, EVO Japan's it's been great,
It's been great, man. It's been a good time.
This might be the last one.
This might be the last break, but until then, Hell Pockets. I need a soundtrack song. You might be able to give it to me. We're going to take a quick break. Guys, roll ad. I need this next song. Hold on. I'm mad at myself because I can't remember who this character is.